Welcome back. The first thing we'd like to discuss, because we have a lot of things to talk about this evening, is the fact that Ellen is also an accomplished author. Yeah, say that 3 times fast. We have a number of her books displayed, books and tapes displayed. Tree Medicine, Tree Magic, A Druid's Herbal. We have Celtic Gods and Goddesses is one of a set of tapes that Ellen has produced. And the other set of tapes?
The Druid Path, Herbs and Festivals.
There we go. And one of the most important books that Frank and I have on our shelf is People of the Earth. It's an astounding compilation of people in the pagan, Wiccan, metaphysical community who got together. Ellen sought them all out, interviewed them, and has some awesome interviews with people in there. Pick a book and start.
Well, in the book People of the Earth, there's a chapter on pagans in the military.
And that's very timely.
Yeah,
that's very timely.
I don't know, as I was driving here today, it was very interesting. I was listening to NPR, and they said, you know, they were talking about signing the peace treaty with the Serbs, which I was very excited about. And then they said, and we're going to be talking with some pagans in the military. And I just about fell out of my seat, you know, because what's happening is, as you know, the elections are coming. And
yes,
we're gearing up for the elections, and the Republican right, the Christian Coalition and those people, are stepping up their media work. In the last month, they've had a very concentrated media campaign nationwide that's been sort of a gay bashing campaign that's been going on. And then the big thing that's happening right now is that Representative Barr of Georgia has decided that it is ridiculous and embarrassing and inappropriate to have Wiccans in the military. And what I would like everyone who's watching this segment to consider, if you happen to be a Wiccan, or if you have a friend who's a Wiccan, or if you know any Wiccans, you know that we are very nice people, and you know, a competent, trained soldier who happens to be a pagan is just as qualified to go into battle as anybody else, and we still have religious freedom in this country. So everybody needs to write to their congressman, their senator,
Absolutely.
and to President Clinton right now to say that, of course, you support pagans in the military. A good soldier is a soldier who has a cause that they believe in, and they have to have faith. And you can't take a soldier and take their faith away and then expect them to have the heart to be a good soldier. So It's really self-defeating for the military to say you have to be a Christian. It just doesn't work like that.
And excuse me, isn't there something in the Bill of Rights called religious freedom?
Right.
Isn't that what this country was founded on? If we go right back to the Puritans who sailed from England because they were being religiously discriminated against, and so they came here and decided that people should have the freedom to worship as they chose. Isn't that interesting?
Sure, or the Jews who came here from Russia,
Russia?
or the Huguenots who came here from France.
From France.
Most of our ancestors came here looking for religious freedom, and it's written into our Constitution. So
I'm glad you mentioned the Jews in regards to this issue, because what came to my mind is, for anybody out there who's watching and thinking that this doesn't really apply to me, it does, because if they succeed with one group, where are they going to stop?
that's right.
And that is the message from the Jewish community because of the Holocaust. It follows a pattern to be discriminatory against any minority, whether it's the Jewish community, the gay and lesbian community, or the Wiccan, pagan, metaphysical community. It's still discrimination. Doesn't matter who you're discriminating against. And one of the messages of our community, the Wiccan, pagan, metaphysical community, is tolerance. It's tolerance. Mm-hmm. So if you want tolerance in your life, regardless of your religious background, and you believe that tolerance is appropriate in our country, in the United States, write your congressman. Tell him or her what you think, what you feel, and tell them that you are not happy about this.
Yes, and if anybody's watching who happens to be a pagan in the military, or if you're a veteran, in the book People of the Earth, I have 19 pages of addresses in the back of places where you can write to and people you can contact. There is a military pagans association. John Makade is the head of it. And it's listed in the back of the book. And I also have interviews with both veterans and people who are in active service who happen to be pagan in this book, as well as druids and witches and every possible description of pagan. They're all in the book.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are, and we have read it, and it's a wonderful, wonderful book. I know that you brought some interesting stuff to talk about. So please start talking about the stuff, and if you want to relate it back to your books and your tapes, that would be terrific.
Okay, well, this is all tree stuff. And you mentioned earlier, I think, that I'm a forest druid.
Yes.
And so I have to tell the story of the forest druids. I didn't know I was a forest druid until last summer. That's when I found out. I go to Ireland periodically, and I take people on private pagan tours, if anyone would like to contact me about that. And last year, I finally met up with the forest druids. There are very few druids in Ireland. As in this country, the average pagan is a Wiccan. Most people are Wiccan. So it took a while before I actually met an Irish druid. And what I've been doing for the last really 15 years is I've been researching trees, I've been eating trees, I live with the trees. I live in an oak forest, and I make medicine from trees, and I teach people how to meditate with trees, and this is just what I've been doing. And the book Tree Medicine, Tree Magic is a collection of recipes and stories, medicinal formulas, poetry, all having to do with trees. Well, I went to Ireland, I finally met the Druids there, and lo and behold, they were doing the same thing. Now, Druids in this country, by and large, are not doing that. As far as I know, I mean, I haven't met anyone who's doing exactly what I'm doing, but it was such a surprise to go over there and find out that I was a forest druid. And we began to talk, and we were doing the same things. And the story is, and this is a little bit of a sad story, but it's a true story. During the Elizabethan era, when Queen Elizabeth was on the throne, she was terrified that the Spanish were going to invade England via Ireland. That was her fear. And so she sent troops into Ireland to cut down the trees so that if any soldiers came through, they would be visible and they couldn't hide. And at that time, Ireland was covered with oak trees. And the oak, of course, is very sacred to Druids. There were people living in these forests, and they were called forest dwellers. 60% of the people of Ireland were baptized at that time. That means 40% were not.